Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. So today we're going to be looking at the performance difference between this brand new Asus ROG Zephyrus G14, which I just purchased, and a MacBook Pro with the M3 chip. So I'm just going to go over the specs of these two machines that I'm going to do today. It's a little bit unusual compared to the normal kind of content that I do, but anyway, it's something that people have requested for a really long time. So anyway, everyone in chat right now, make sure to let me know if the audio levels are okay, yeah, just make some noise, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me see where we are at the moment. How many people have we got? About 48 concurrent viewers. That's pretty good. So yeah, let me know in the chat, how does the audio sound? Is everything okay? So okay, let's launch into it. So I have purchased the 2024 version of the Asus Zephyrus G14, and this is going to be a permanent addition to my collection. It's going to be my wife's computer, and she's much more of a Windows user. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity to also test it out against the M3 Pro, because when I picked up the Zephyrus G14 earlier this year, I noticed like instantly how similar the MacBook Pro and the Zephyrus G14 are in terms of like finish, design, and basically, you know, the ROG's taken a ton of inspiration from the MacBook Pro, especially these are both 14-inch models of very recently released computers. So it's a very interesting proposition, because you know, they both have these huge trackpads. They have similar kind of chiclet style keyboards. They both got the speakers on the grills on the side. They're basically virtually identical. I mean, you can obviously tell that this is a MacBook because of the notch here. You have the extra vertical space on the screen, which is very interesting. They are both very similar in size as well. So I've got a couple of comparison videos. Let me see which one I've got, which kind of show them, you know, like stacking, you know, they look very similar. I mean, this one's got this kind of ugly slash thing, LED strip at the back, which I find quite ugly. But, you know, other than that, they are very similar machines in a lot of respects. And, but the insides are going to be completely different in terms of what they offer. So obviously the ROG Zephyrus G14 is a Windows computer running on an x86 64-bit chip using a dedicated GPU, and this GPU is the RTX 4060 with 6 GB of VRAM. And so, you know, this is pretty much your standard gaming discrete chip these days. And does this, you know, the kind of question is, how does this compete against, let's say, MacBook Pro with the M3 Pro chip? So the version that we're using has 16 GPU cores and 12 CPU cores. And in terms of RAM, the MacBook Pro has 18 GB of RAM, whereas this Zephyrus G14 has 32 GB of RAM. However, I think RAM, you know, once you get over 16 GB of RAM, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference on actual performance. What we'll really be testing today is basically graphics performance between the GPU cores and the RTX 4060. So that's kind of, you know, what we're going for today. So it's very interesting to see, you know, what we're going for. So anyway, welcome to the chat, everyone. Let me see what I'll catch up today. Sync just finished Stray on Mac, such an amazing game. Yeah, I had a good time playing Stray. I mostly played that on a Steam Deck, to be honest, when the game first came out. It was a bit more convenient to play it when I was playing it at the time. I'm going to be doing this on a cable, so I'll just show you my Zephyrus setup. So I haven't bought a gaming laptop properly for a long time. This one has a piece of software which helps you tweak some of the hardware on this ROG platform, and it'd be interesting to see if anyone has any tips about this, because, you know, it's basically the first time I've done Windows benchmarking for a really long time. So this Armory crate showing that this has 8 GB of VRAM. So I was wrong. It's not 6 GB. It's 8 GB of discrete VRAM on this RTX 4060. Is the RTX 4060 different on a laptop compared to a desktop? I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. We also put this on performance mode. So this one, there's various modes that you can use. To be honest, I'm not sure what the actual difference is. There's a silent one, performance, turbo, manual. I think these refer to different wattages, APU power limits, etc. I'm just going to leave mine on performance mode for now because I don't really know what I'm doing. And I've placed this laptop onto ultimate mode on GPU. So there's a kind of function on this laptop where you actually have two GPUs. So you've got a integrated GPU, the Radeon 780M, which is part of the AMD Ryzen 9 8945HS. So that's the CPU. We're using an AMD CPU. And but there's a discrete graphics card here as well. So if we look at the display here, we've got this NVIDIA RTX 4060 laptop GPU. So that is basically the what we're competing against here. And I think what this GPU mode does in Ultimate is that it prioritizes the discrete GPU, whereas what I've noticed, which is quite interesting, is that when you unplug the power cable, it'll turn from the screen will actually flicker as it switches between the integrated and the discrete GPUs. So normally this has this kind of like Optimus type graphics switching, which switches from the lower powered integrated graphics chip to the discrete one, and the screen will flicker and change. So one thing I need to be aware of is that sometimes if the game's not set up correctly or the power plan's not set up correctly, it's going to select the wrong GPU, which will affect our performance tests, of course. And of course on a Mac, we don't have that issue because all of the Apple Silicon Macs have integrated GPUs and can basically instantly access the full power of Apple Silicon. And what I haven't actually run any games on either of these computers yet. Well, I obviously have run on the Mac before, but on the Windows computer, I haven't really got that far. So I don't really anticipate the Mac to actually be able to compete. My prediction is that the Mac will not compete with the discrete graphics GPU of the Windows computer, even if we're running the same games. That's my prediction. If we're running equivalent games like a Windows game on the Windows laptop versus an optimized Mac port on the MacBook Pro, then I would predict that the Windows is going to beat it every time just because of the optimizations, the discrete GPU. Everything's going to work a bit better on Windows, I think. But, that's not necessarily why people buy Macs in the first place. Macs, I would always say, is a primarily productivity device rather than a gaming device. And so, our priorities are going to be different. Let's see. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is to run a benchmark. So I haven't run one of these for a long time. Let's go. I've just installed Geekbench. So let's go ahead and get this running. And I need to actually install this. So let me just install this. Okay, let's do a Geekbench test. So let's close some of these windows. I'll close some of these for now so that we can properly give this a test. Okay, let's run our CPU benchmark. So if any of you have any tips on the best way to actually get a good result from this, let me know. Let's run the CPU benchmark first and see how we go, and I'll look at chat. So, could try Detroit Become Human if you have access to it, please. I do have Detroit Become Human, but it won't be a very good test because I can't run this on a Mac. I think it's because of AVX. So AVX can't be translated via Rosetta on a Mac, so that's not going to be a good comparison. I have prepared a few games. I kind of ran out of time for actual games to try out today, but I do have a few which run on Windows and a Mac, which are going to be a little bit interesting to see what the relative performance is going to be. But we're going to run some CPU benchmarks. I'll run the GPU benchmark, and then I'm also going to run Cinebench as well. So I just downloaded Cinebench. Let's give that a go. Raishask says, I'm selling my gaming laptop. I think the perfect setup these days is a MacBook Air and a desktop PC. So yeah, I agree. MacBook Air maxed out with a desktop PC is probably a good move. You're maximizing your portability, and the desktop PC doesn't need to be portable, so you can build that as hard and big and hot as you like, and it'll be just fine. I've actually just about to upgrade my PC. I've actually got all the parts ready. I'm upgrading to the what is it? The 14th generation i9. What is it? 14,900 K. And I bought a new 4080 Super, RTX 4080 Super, and I got a new motherboard. Got like 64 gigabytes of RAM, way overkill. I just haven't had time to put it together because in order to do it, I have to like gut my existing streaming PC, and it's a bit of a pain at the moment. I need to block out like a day to get it all sorted, and then I've got to redo all my setup, my camera and everything, get it all working. Yeah, that's the ideal setup. Desktop gaming PC is the way to go. Let me see what we've got here. Shanine Wasim, Free Palestine. I'm going to say no comment on that. Nothing political in chat, please. What we used to play games on the Mac, crossover. If I've got time, I'll run a crossover game and compare them. But obviously, the Windows native Windows hardware is going to run Windows games way better than a Mac on crossover. Because there's too many translation layers through crossover. x86 64-bit to ARM64, Windows to Mac OS APIs, and of course Rosetta. So x86, well, sorry, I said that already, and DirectX 11 and 12 to the Metal Graphics API. There are too many translation layers. It stutters quite a lot. The Mac version is never going to run better than the Windows version. That's in stark contrast to like something like the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck can actually. There are some select games that actually work better on the Steam Deck compared to, having a native Windows version running on the same hardware. But the Mac is not. It's just simply never going to reach that level. And even, MacBooks, especially on Apple Silicon, they really prioritize efficiency more than anything. So I don't really anticipate the Mac to beat the Windows in any shape or form. So, okay, here we've got Omar Masood says, try the MacBook Pro M3 Max. So that's my main MacBook. So the last few live streams I've been doing not the last one, which was the MacBook Air, but the everyone before then pretty much is on my M3 Max. So that's, if you want to check it out, then that's all there. Use turbo mode to max the performance of the CPU and GPU. In performance mode, the max power draw is limited to keep the fans quieter. Turbo mode. Okay, I'll turn this on turbo mode. So I can see the clock frequency changes slightly, but it's not going to change very much. I'll wait for this CPU benchmark to finish. This will give us like a general idea. I don't think that this... Will it make that much difference? Maximizes power to CPU and GPU for high performance gaming. Okay, performance mode is a balanced. Should call it balance mode. So is that, if I press this button, is that turned on, or do I have to like press another button to do this? How do I get turbo mode to get turned on? Because this is turbo mode turned on? Let me just see. Is that, if I click on this, is that turned on? I'm not even sure. Let me know chat if that's correct. Because silent mode. Let me see. It's a little bit confusing. This Armory crate thing. Device. There's a lot. I don't really find this user interface particularly good. So I've got GPU mode set to ultimate. And if I go to home, I want to turn this on to performance mode, but the interface is not very clear about whether that is actually on or not. Well, I'll keep it on there, and then I will run the benchmark. Okay, benchmark score. I should probably do this again. 2652. Let me just run this again, actually, and see how we do. Okay, so I'll run that again. See if there's any difference. So what this is giving me 2652, multi-core score of 13166. I'm actually going to run this on the Mac as well. Let's do this. So I do not have a sophisticated stream setup at the moment. So I've got my G14 here connected up via HDMI. I've got my MacBook at the back. Let me just do this. Okay, that's running a CPU benchmark, so we can do a kind of one-to-one comparison. Okay. So, JFishin, what's up, Andy? How are you doing? I'm doing well. Thanks for joining the stream, JFishin. Yanto3000 says, selling my gaming laptop now, keeping gaming PC and MacBook Pro. What's the point of a laptop if it's always tethered to the wall? Yes, I do agree. One of the things I hate about gaming laptops is the fact that there is a giant brick everywhere. So this thing is, I don't have this brick with me. Looking for my other brick, but I can't show you this on stream very easily because I don't want to disconnect it. But the brick on the G14 is pretty substantial. But what I do like about this laptop is the fact that, and a lot of the modern gaming laptops now actually have the ability to function via power delivery. So I do own multiple power delivery chargers which can run up to 100 watts. This can take up to 100 watts. And so this makes it ideal because if I'm taking this laptop on holiday, I'm going to take my MacBook as well. I just need one USB-C charger, which does 100 watts power delivery, and then that's all I need to take. So basically it's like way easier. I recently picked up like a really good 100 watt travel charger. So that's all you really need to power both of these. Yeah. So that's why I picked this model. This particular G14 is, the 2024 model is really, someone might even call it a downgrade compared to the 2023 models. I did a little bit of research before I bought this, and basically the 2023 models had the ability to put higher end graphics cards in them. So you could put like I think a 4080 in here. But obviously putting too much power in the laptop will make it run hotter, battery run shorter. It's not particularly ideal. And yeah, I'm sorry, I did write it was a 4070, but I read it wrong because I've only just like opened this laptop today, so I'm not very sure. I wasn't like I'm saying, like it's not like a major selling point to me to have extremely fast graphics. Something I don't really need. I just want to be able to play Palworld on it sometimes with my kids while we're traveling or something like that. And yeah, basically this laptop is the most like MacBook like Windows laptop I've seen for a long time. It's got the, like I said earlier, it's got the giant trackpad. It's got similar design elements to it. It's got a very similar screen, 120 hertz screen. You know, but the big difference is that the gaming performance on this is going to be like way better. However, you know, one of the things that I don't like about Windows computers is all of the bloat. Like I just hate the fact that this computer, I hate Windows as like integrated co-pilot into the operating system. It's just very intrusive. Oh shit, I just closed it. Okay, that's my benchmark results for CPU. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's run the GPU benchmark. Okay, so basically, yeah, I really don't like the bloat. I don't like McAfee. You know, when you buy a modern laptop these days, it's just filled with a bunch of crap. So like McAfee antivirus. I mean, why is this on a laptop? I mean, you spend so much money on a computer, and then you get this like basically scamware on your computer. So you know, Windows 11 has its own built-in antivirus, which works great already. Why do I need a VPN? Why do I need tracker remover? You know, there's all this stuff which is going to like install browser crap into your extensions into your computer. It's got even more stuff here like, you know, oh yeah, let's just integrate Grammarly into your computer, or Luminar Neo AI photo editor. I wonder how much they paid to get this onto an Asus laptop. Yeah, but like Microsoft One, why is all this stuff here? Why? It's just crazy. So yeah, OpenCL score 94479. Okay, let's compare this. Let's compare this to my MacBook Pro. So MacBook Pro, you're getting a similar-ish score. So MacBook Pro M3 Pro is getting a much better single core score and a much better multi-core score as well. So MacBook Pro is getting 3210, a single core score, multi-core score of 15,809. So according to Geekbench, the MacBook Pro CPU performance is like way better. Yeah, it's not really surprising that we're getting this result. Okay, 94479 OpenCL score. I'm going to run the GPU benchmark on the MacBook Pro as well. Okay. Okay, just going to answer some questions while that benchmark runs. Sorry for the questions. Is the M1 Pro worth updating to the M3 Pro? No one says. For most people, no. If you have an M1 Pro, upgrading to M3 Pro is probably not make a difference. Have you tried CU for Mac? Well, user did announce a Mac port, but we haven't tried it yet. I am Evan. Hello, welcome to the stream. Dextro, I think the M3 Pro gaming is more than enjoyable nowadays. Get a minimum 60 FPS. Yeah. One click. When you click on it, it will mainly affect GPU the most, as the APU is the most efficient, about 35 to 45 watts. Okay, good. Yes, good. I've clicked on the correct thing, which is good. It's just that this interface element, whatever that is, it's annoying. It doesn't really tell me what it's confusing. That's the whole thing about these third-party Armory Crate. I mean, I read a lot of like negative feedback about Armory Crate, especially on like the ROG Ally, which is like the Windows Steam Deck competitor. Seems okay, but you know, it's not very intuitive. I really don't like the design of like the gamer-centric design of this stuff. The fonts and everything, it kind of annoys me. Maybe check out the Slim Q240. What was going to be my go-to if I didn't want to sell? Okay, I'll check that out later. What do you think about the Mythic macOS game launcher? I haven't tried it yet. 5% difference between 4060 and 4070. Okay, interesting. How about the 4080? How much difference is that? Yeah, I know that you can uninstall McAfee really easily. And I remember in the past when I got like a Windows computer with all this like from a vendor like Asus, right? You use a piece of software called like, I think it's called like PC Decrapifier, and it like helps to remove a lot of stuff. But you know, it's just unnecessary. Like why is this stuff here? Why is LinkedIn here? You know, what's the point? And you know, when you have Windows laptop, there's just a lot of like stuff, all this third-party stuff here, AMD, NVIDIA, Realtek, right? All these What is Glide X? What is that? There's all this stuff on it. It just seems like, you open it up and it's already clogged full of crap. And in the past, especially lower spec machines, it's very annoying. Okay. M3 Pro. This one, J14. This one's the full chip, I think. If I'm correct, it's the 16 GPU core, 12 CPU core, 18 gigabyte version of the M3 Pro 14-inch. Okay. Is it worth upgrading from the M2 Pro if you just code with it? No. M2 Pro is great already. Motherboard manufacturer software is always terrible. Yes. Exactly. There's like 10% difference. Is that worth it? No. I just downloaded the Mac version of CU from their official website. I haven't seen the CU in the wild yet. Ryujinx is like the way to go. 4080 is over 200% faster than 4060. Okay. Don't run OpenCL. Isn't OpenCL... Should I be running Vulkan? Is there an equivalent? Because there's no equivalent Vulkan on the Mac. Because I can only run OpenCL. I have a Metal on a Mac. I have the option for Metal, and have the option for OpenCL. And if we just compare the results, the Windows graphics here is. Let me see. Is this confirmed that we're using? Yeah, we're using the 4060 to do the OpenCL benchmark. So getting a score of 94479. Here we're getting half the score, which is 50051. So nearly half of the OpenCL score. I don't actually know what OpenCL means. Presumably it's some kind of like open source graphics API. Not really sure. But if I run, Vulkan as a test, it wouldn't really help that much. I don't think, because it wouldn't be a very fair comparison. Because we wouldn't be comparing anything similar at all. Okay, good. So let's do Cinebench. Where's my Cinebench gone? Cinebench. Didn't I just download Cinebench? I just downloaded Cinebench. This is not the correct one. Maxon. Didn't I just download this? I hope this doesn't affect the stream too much, because I'm running on like a low. I'm running on like a low low bandwidth connection. Okay, that's going to be a few minutes. Let me run the Mac version. Yeah, I'm going to run the Mac version of Cinebench to see what the difference is. Okay, Mattdog, let me know if CU works, because I haven't heard it's working on a Mac yet. I did make a Yuzu video a couple of years ago now when they announced the Mac port. I really doubt that anyone from CU has done anything substantial with it. Omar says, if you're running native games on the Mac and the ROG G14, the M3 Pro might be the same or a little faster, but probably not, maybe not. Yeah. I don't think it will be. That's my prediction. OpenCL is a graphics API like DirectX, yeah. I don't know if you have Liza P installed. That game's runs so good, would be a good one to test. I don't have Liza P. What I'm planning to run is... let me see what game I was planning to run. I forgot what's going to run now. I've got my list in my computer. I want to run Warhammer 3, No Man's Sky. Hopefully they'll have equivalent graphics settings. Baldur's Gate 3 has like a major regression on macOS at the moment. It's like terrible in terms of performance. I think it's ever since Larian dropped Elva Rules as the porting house for Baldur's Gate 3 on Mac. The hot fixes of Baldur's Gate 3 are now simultaneous with the Windows version, but ever since like the patch from a few weeks ago, patch 21, I think, performance has been really bad. It can't really play on the Mac anymore. It's that bad, right? Even on my M3 Max, it's awful. So kind of unplayable on the Mac. It's kind of a tragedy because it's one of the best RPGs you can play on a Mac. Hopefully it'll get fixed soon. Which MacBook would you recommend for about $1,500? Get like an old M1 Pro for that price. I think it's probably the best value for money. Don't buy a MacBook Air, in my opinion. Not with 8 gigabytes of RAM. You want something a bit more hefty. I really rate the Pro series. The M1 Pro is like a really good machine still, I'd say, if you can get your hands on one. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's try to do some Cinebench. Did my Cinebench download yet? It's about to finish downloading. Yeah, I just want to do some like synthetic benchmarks first before we launch into it, because you know, it'd be good to see synthetically if this is working or not. Okay, good. Dexter, I noticed that the BT3 Mac version got a lot worse. I thought it was because I was in Act 3, but what you say makes sense. Yes, Act 3 was already pretty bad, but this new patch just makes it worse. Yeah. The 4060 should be over 2 times faster than the M3 Pro. Yes. So you know these two laptops have similar price points. I mean, in the UK, the ROG G14 32 gigabytes of RAM retails for about £2,400, and this M3 Pro, let me just check apple.com, M3 MacBook Pro 14-inch, it also retails I think for £1,400. Just check. So M3 Pro, we're looking at this one here, 2,500. So if I look at the ROG, what have I gone? This one is from the ASUS eStore price is 2,400. So there's like £100 difference in the UK in terms of price. So it's pretty, you know, they're similar, but with the ROG, the G14, we're probably looking at double the performance, like Jihad Rouhani says. So I'm not really expecting much from this. I mean, the fact is that if you're interested in gaming at all, then you know you shouldn't really be buying a Mac. The Macs are really for people who prioritize the macOS side of it. I would say I call it the productivity, creativity side of it. But these G14s, they will probably have double the graphics performance as we see with the OpenCL test. But you know, all these parts of this computer, they come from different manufacturers. The OS comes from Microsoft. The graphics chips come from 2 different companies, AMD Ryzen's integrated chip and NVIDIA's discrete RTX chip. The sound drivers made from a different company, Realtek. The motherboards, you know, probably put together by ASUS, but from dozens of different, you know, manufacturers mushed together into one thing. And so, you know, these Windows laptops are a combination of multiple different vendors coming together on a Mac, right? On an actual Mac, everything comes from one place. So it's like, you know, it's way more integrated between the hardware and software, and you know, this macOS has a lot of benefits too, like the unlikelihood that you'll ever get a virus. Like I've hardly ever seen viruses on Mac. I've seen malware on Macs, but actual proper, you know, viruses on Windows, there's plenty. If you turn off your antivirus on a Windows computer, you probably run into trouble. Okay, good. So let's see. Oh, I think my thing downloaded for the second time. Where's it gone? Yeah, why? It's so annoying. I don't really like how Edge puts stuff. Why doesn't Edge put stuff in the downloads folder? What is it? Why is it in the in this temporary folder? Did it always do that? It's annoying because like Edge is okay. Edge is okay. It's better than what do we used to have? Edge versus what? Internet Explorer. Anyway, Edge has improved a lot lately. I like Edge more. Enough to not make me want to download Chrome straight away. Yeah. Battery on Windows laptops is bad. Yeah, that is true. But what I found really interesting about the Steam Deck and that AMD chip inside that is that it is, if there's hardware support for like lowering the TDP like you can on the Steam Deck, you can get an amazing amount of performance out of that machine. And I think that's the result of Valve being able to pair the software with the hardware and making sure that you get that full control, that integrated control straight from the Steam button. You can just tweak down the TDP, and if you're running a low end game, you can run that game for hours. And so I do see like the gap between x86 and ARM getting smaller, especially like low power usage. And these days, right, there are like tons of options for extending power. Like I recently got like this Ugreen 140 watt portable battery, power delivery 140 watts. That's crazy, right? And that can fully recharge. Well, not quite fully recharge, but do a lot of extra, add a lot of extra lifespan to a MacBook. So yeah, okay. You should do gfxbench. What's gfxbench? I'm not very familiar with like the Windows benchmarking tools. Let me just see. Unified graphics benchmark. Is there a, the thing is, right, is there a Mac version of it? Because there's a metal version, but does that test the same thing? Let's try it. I'll save it as rather than open. Okay, hopefully this will be good. Okay, let me run Cinebench on Mac. Okay, I'm putting, I don't know if you see on the camera here, but I'm putting CPU, running the GPU, I'm running the GPU test on the MacBook Pro M3, so let's try and do this here too. I'll run gfxbench as well in a minute. But let's see how this is going. Okay, Alberto asks, how do you put the FPS counter on the Mac? The command used in terminal is not working anymore. So, Alberto, how are you trying to run the FPS counter? So what I found is that if you're trying to get it to run on crossover, you need to enable that command before you run crossover. So you have to close crossover, make sure that environmental terminal command is run, and then open crossover, and then all the games within it should work. You can test it by opening up the Photos app, and then if there's a metal HUD in the top right hand corner of Photos, then it's working. As long as the game is using Metal, the Metal Graphics API, then it will show up. The Metal HUD will show up. If you can't run the Metal HUD, if it's using OpenGL, for example, then you've got to run it through Steam and add it as a non-Steam game, or just run it through Steam and then use the Steam overlay to do the counting for you. So that's probably the best way to do it. Okay, let's install gfxbench. A lot of tools I'm not familiar with. I find Windows kind of amazing that all this like stuff still works. Like you could find an exe from like, as long as it's like 32-bit, you can still get it to work on a modern operating system. Even some 16-bit stuff will work too. This unpacking is slow. Why the hell is this going at 40 kilobytes per second? Must be all of the tiny files inside it. I mean, it is a 1.4 gigabytes, so there's a lot of assets involved. So yeah, I'll run this right after that's fully extracted. Did I install gfxbench? Let me see. Jesus Christ. I just want to say thanks for your most recent tutorial on installing VMware on MacBook. Got it working with your help. Yeah, glad you got it working. What are you using VMware for anyway? I'm always curious, like, do people do it for gaming or is it productivity? Let me know in the chat. Alberta says, I tested it with crossover. It's Bandit's Baldur's Gate 3 native from Mac, no success. Baldur's Gate 3 should work with crossover. It should work. I've tested it before, so it should work. I think Baldur's Gate 3 might work better on Windows through crossover now that the macOS patch has dropped the ball so badly. So it'd be really interesting to see if that's the case. Okay, good. Jonas Dower Brenner says, bought my MacBook Pro 16 M2 Pro a couple of weeks ago and may try to play some games soon. Well, let me know what games you want to try. Unpacking many small files is slower than unpacking a few big files. That's how SSDs work in general. Yeah, it is. And now it's going in megabytes rather than down to small kilobytes. So nice. VMware is nice to run on smaller things. I've got the Model Sega. What's the Model Sega emulator? Sega emulator? Master System? Genesis? Mega Drive? Saturn? What's the... Or is it the arcade? Is that the arcade emulator? It's funny running a system emulator through a virtual machine. Yeah, Model 2, is that the arcade system? Is it like Daytona or something? House of the Dead. Okay, let's see our Cinebench. The Cinebench takes a long time. This has been running for like 8 minutes. So interesting to see what the results might be. Yeah, so I think I'll probably only have time to run a couple of games today as well. So let's run these benchmarks. Aziza says, I use it to install Windows 11 just like your tutorial, Excel, and learning PowerShell. The only thing is that I find the VM screen turns black after swiping from Windows to Mac. Any idea how to remedy this? I have no idea how to remedy that, but if you are only using it for PowerShell and Excel and you're not making use of the graphics, then an alternative is to try UTM, which is the open source kind of front end for QEMU, which could potentially work quite well. It doesn't have graphics acceleration, but it tends to be fairly primitive. But what I found is that VMware has been janky for me, so that's one thing to consider. Okay, good. Let's run Cinebench. Let's see how it's going. So I've been running Cinebench on my MacBook Pro for a while. I'm running the GPU test, so let's run the GPU test today. Let's run the GPU test to do a bit of chatting. Okay, accept. Let's see if I can run it and see here. Let's put it here, some visual stuff. GPU. Okay, let's just close a bit of crap in the background. We don't need this open. Okay, let's do this. I don't tend to run GPU. I don't tend to run these Cinebench tests very often because, just in terms of gaming, it's not that relevant. I can hear the fans. I can hear the fans really getting going now. Whereas the MacBook Pro, no fans at all. Is there a place here I can see the fan speeds? because I can hear it now. It's quite loud. Here we are. That fan speed here, 40 decibels. I think it's louder than that. It's getting faster. Yeah, so I can see it's rendering the scene, and then this is that temperature's going up like quite a lot. Alberta says, I use Steam BG3 for Mac, use the terminal command and nothing shows up. Some people on Reddit say there's a bug on macOS, but I'm not sure. Do you think the BG3 runs better with crossover? I will try it again. Are you sure? You use crossover. Use the crossover trial to give it a go. So my microphone here has got noise gating on it. So I have a filter on this to reduce background noise because I've got like family moving it in the background in my office. So you might only hear it when I'm talking, but I can see it here. The acoustics are loudish. One of my big bugbears with computers as well is just a fan. I hate fan noise, especially like tiny squeaky laptop fans. So if I were to use this on a normal basis, I would probably turn it on to silent mode and I would accept the performance loss that would inevitably occur. But basically, yeah, these fans are loud. MacBook Pro be like man's not. Okay. So let me turn. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to my mic setup, and I could turn off my noise gates. Let me just. Oh, I don't have noise removal turned on. I've only got noise gate turned on. Let's turn this off. Okay, I've got my noise gate turned off. Okay, I don't. Okay, you might hear a lot of background noise now because I've turned off all of my noise removal. Okay, that was already off. Okay, I forgot to turn that back on. I've been recording loads with it off, and I've got my noise gate off. So my mic is kind of nearish. It's within arm's distance. We're about that far. Whoop. About that far from my mic to the laptop. I can't really see. Can't really see from here. Okay, so I'm gonna need to make sure to turn that back on later. Okay, do you think the Snapdragon X Elite laptops will compete with MacBooks, and will you test that chip on this channel and do comparisons against Apple Silicon? I'm going to be making a video about the G14 versus the MacBook Pro. It's just serendipity because I bought this laptop on purpose. I'm not sure what the returns policy on these laptops are. I wouldn't necessarily buy an ARM laptop just for that purpose anyway, unless I could return it. Like Apple laptops are very easy to return. The Snapdragon ARM chip MacBook, the Windows laptop. Who makes that? Who's the manufacturer vendor for that? Because that will determine how easy it is to return. Docky, when I play on silent mode, my PC just gets too hot and shuts off. It's terrible. Well, the thing is with a PC is that you can basically make it pretty silent just by buying loads of like low RPM fans, right? And just have enough airflow, like large silent fans. You can have loads of those in a machine. You can have liquid cooling, and you wouldn't have any fan noise really. There would be nothing there, and so that's the kind of thing that you can do when you have enough space with your PC case. Whereas on a laptop, you have these like screechy little noise, these little teeny tiny fans with high pitched whirring. It's terrible. And so, that's why I really like MacBooks. Is like the fans do engage, but they're the kind of like low pitched fans, and they're very quick to turn back into like the low speed fans. And so I really like MacBooks because, they're, for me, they're primarily a portable device, and they're very close to your head, right? Whereas, I could put my PC in a different room, right? As long as and at the moment it's a couple of meters away from me. I don't hear the fans at all. Or the fans are like these big 140 millimeter, big spinny ones, which don't really make much noise. Okay. NVIDIA is forcing OEMs to not let their GPUs cross 75 degrees. Apple seem to prefer letting their chip reach 110 degrees. I haven't noticed that because they don't really monitor temperatures on my PC much. I've seen the temperature scanners for Macs, and it seems like it's fine for laptops to hit 100 degrees. The chips themselves to reach 100 degrees Celsius. I did notice that when I did my MacBook Air video last. The top case using my infrared camera was showing 45 degrees Celsius. Internally, the temperature was about 100 degrees. So I think it's probably fine. But these machines don't have, we have a discrete GPU, which needs cooling probably even more than the CPU. And so there's like a lot more heat, a lot more energy being used. RxFlex asks, what MacBook do you recommend for Switch emulation? Just as much MacBook as you can afford, really. M1 can do a lot of Switch emulation. The only thing it can't really do that well is like Zelda. But a lot of games like Super Mario Wonder runs about 45 FPS on the base M1. If you can afford an M3 Max, that's going to run better. So that's what I always say. Of course, if you want good Switch gameplay, just buy a Switch. They're only like $200. It'd be cheaper than any Mac upgrade that you'll ever get. Cinebench 2024 GPU test includes ray tracing, so I don't think Mac will perform well. I wonder if the Cinebench, because the M3 Pro ostensibly supports ray tracing, so but I'm not aware of whether Cinebench actually makes use of that. So we'll see with the test. I don't know when a Cinebench thing has stopped, because it's been way over. Oh no, it's a countdown. Okay. I see. Okay, I haven't run one of these for a really long time, so it's 2 minutes 30 left. Whereas the Mac one says it's finished. It's already gone through the countdown, so it's already finished the finished, but it's not finished. It says it's still working. It's still doing something. Do I still think the M chips are still the kings? I think that MacBook Apple Silicon chips are exceptionally good in like very narrow circumstances. So I think that I love the fact that on my M3 Max, I can get excellent performance whether I'm plugged into the wall or not. It basically it's like the best video editing laptop I've ever used. Better than my PC, It's pretty amazing that we get such powerful, efficient performance with good battery life portably. But if you could plug into the wall, if you had a desktop setup, I don't really see much benefit to having these efficient chips. And so I don't think they're the kings in every scenario. But for most people, it's probably fine. Yeah, it's probably fine. Okay. I think many vendors will release Snapdragon laptops, including Microsoft themselves. Yeah, I think so. Surface is going to be Snapdragon, no? Well, I think they will really. I'm not very clued up on this, because I know that Surface many years ago had like a Go lineup with an ARM chip lineup. I think there's a Qualcomm lineup, which is kind of terrible, with a cut down version of Windows ARM. Now it's better with the Windows ARM is a much better proposition now, just due to the fact that it has that emulation, x86 64-bit emulation for the ARM chip built into Windows 11 ARM. So not too bad. Any option for fast additional storage on Mac should be portable, working with very large CPP projects, says How Vitor Moraes. So my go-to additional storage if you're using a MacBook Pro is to use a base Qi adapter and plug in an SD card. Now, the new version, the old version of the SD card is UHS 1, which can run about 100 megabytes megabytes per second. But now that there's a new base Qi, which released a couple of years ago, which runs at UHS 2, which the new MacBooks can support. Now that's substantially faster than UHS 1, but is still like far slower than using a solid state drive. But you know, I like the fact that base Qi adapters are built. You can like shove an SD card into the Mac, so it's like internal. Whereas a solid state drive, you always have to have like these hanging off the computer in a very vulnerable state with the USB-C. So that's my preference. I'm not sure it'll work with Unreal Engine projects, but just because it just seems like finished, I think. I can see it's really slowed down now. I'm gonna turn my noise gate back on so I can. I'll turn my noise removal on, and then I'm gonna turn my noise gate on as well so that I can get some. So that the audio is a bit better. Okay, hopefully that's better audio. Okay, so GPU 10,215 points. Okay, with the RTX 4060, Windows 11. Okay, do I think this has beaten the MacBook Pro M3 Pro? So the MacBook Pro, oh, let me put it here. 10 Pro, should I place it on top? Will that work? Let me just read out. So this is just going to switch to my other scene. Won't have the chat though. Let me just copy and paste the chat into there. Okay, so the MacBook Pro M3 Pro is getting a score of 6,097. So substantially worse. So like somebody said earlier, half. It's not exactly half, but nearly half. So, you know, 6,000. Let's go back to the stream. 6,000 versus 10,000. So that's basically what we're working with here. Okay, let's do some game benchmarking. Okay, let's look at. Okay, so I'm a bit limited by what games I've actually installed because it's very. I've been having a lot of trouble with Steam libraries lately. Yanto says, well, we'll let Snapdragon down as Windows. I hope Snapdragon is as amazing as I want to push Apple to get better. Yeah. Let me see, did my thing update correctly yet? I want to do an actual download. Okay, that's not working. What game was I gonna do? I forgot already. Look at my notes. I was going to do Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I realized I didn't download it. My internet connection is so slow that I'm not going to be able to actually do it properly. Shadow of the Tomb Raider has a really good benchmarking tool inside it, so it's a good comparison. I also got, let me see. Let me just remember why. Let me think. I think I'll just run some No Man's Sky first, okay? So I don't have an actual benchmark for this, but it'd be interesting to see. Well, I forgot I need to put my Mac into like offline mode. Well, Warhammer 3 is it's actually validating, so that'll be ready soonish. So I might try that in a minute. Spunky Potato, will these tests stream end up as a condensed video eventually? Yeah, that's the whole point of this, because I'm trying to prepare the B-roll to get this like ready to make a video, because I need to like run all the games. So I've done the B-roll for my benchmark results. So I've got my Geekbench results, got my Cinebench results, got the GPU test results. So those are pretty much objective. Yeah, Yanto, the Transcend jet drives, unless I'm mistaken, they are all UHS-1 speeds. If you use the base cheese, you can get UHS-2 speed if you have a separate micro SD card. And they're basically the same thing. The difference is that because the base chi is an adapter, it means that you can potentially buy a bigger SD card. You can buy faster SD cards. They're great, basically. I use it all the time. But I only ever use a UHS-1 card because like I can put a 1 terabyte or 1.5 terabyte in. It runs slow, but for certain types of files, like if you want to download a film or something, it's perfect. You don't need it fast. A lot of games will run fine from 100 megabytes per second. So, you know, these are good results. Okay, so if I want to benchmark 2 games at the same time, then I need to put my account into offline mode. I'll launch Warhammer 3. I like Warhammer 3 because there are multiple benchmarks that we can run at the same time. There's like the battle benchmark and the campaign benchmark. I think if I ever do a comparison video like this again, I will connect up one computer. I'll operate both computers at the same time, and I'll get my second capture card out. So I can't. So one of the reasons I'm upgrading my PC is because I keep running out of USB ports, and I don't have enough PCIe ports. So I'm running into major issues trying to like optimize my setup. Like I've got this webcam here, so I can see this laptop. I've got another overhead webcam. I've got this camera. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for me to actually try to like get. I think. So I just lost my train of thought. I love your chat screen is right in your camera. Yeah. So basically, I've got I put the chat inside my teleprompter. So you know, I bought a lot of equipment, right? So I put the chat in my teleprompter here. I bought a teleprompter a few months ago. It's really helped make content creation a lot easier when I'm like doing camera stuff. And yeah, so upgrading my PC just because I'm running into all of these limitations. Like one of them is just USB ports, and I'm using like USB-C expansions. And the problem is with these USB 3 expansions is that basically you start running into like bus issues. Too much stuff running through one thing like starts lagging everything out. It's terrible. So yeah, I think if I ever do this in the future, I'll connect both laptops to this stream at the same time, and then I could have like half the stream for one laptop and half the stream on the other, and it'll be a bit more interesting for. I could actually work faster because then I could record both streams at the same time and work on both at the same time. I could actually double the work. So yeah, I need a whole day to like redo my entire PC setup. Let me just show you. Where's the where's all the stuff here? Quite excited about installing this bad boy, RTX 4080 Super. And then I think the pièce de résistance is this little bad boy here. This is the i9 14900K. So hopefully this will make it easier to. It's for content creation, right? Not just gaming. And I've heard that the CPU gets very hot. So I'm not that good at building cool computers, but like computers that run cool. But I'll do my best. Actual Elgato prompter. No, I'm not using the Elgato prompter because I firstly wasn't available to order when I really wanted a teleprompter, and then secondly, it's just it's a bit small as well. It's a bit small, so I'm just using a standard newer one with a screen that I've connected up there, and it actually works great. I don't really see a need to have a different teleprompter than this. I like that this. I'm using like a 13-inch, 14-inch screen with it, which is way bigger than the newest like 8-inch screen. So I'm quite happy with it. Rurani, are you going to rely on DLSS and Metal FX upscaling here? I'm going to try to use equivalent testing. So I guess I could do some Metal FX testing, but most likely what I'll do is I'll just turn off any kind of upscaling and I'll just run the game with 0 upscaling or the same. So I think Warhammer has FSR. If it's got FSR 1, I might try that. But basically, I'll run the settings, assuming that the settings are the same between Mac and Windows, and then try to get this to run correctly. Okay, so oh yeah, so you're gonna update for an hour then? Okay, let's not do that. Okay, because that's gonna take too long. Let's run. You know what? Let's run Stride, like someone said earlier. Just get this working. Does your MacBook get 880 megabytes per second on Wi-Fi? No. That peak was from. That's like gigabit speed, isn't it? That's from the game transfer functionality. So if you have multiple computers on a network, local network, they can transfer data to each other. But I had a whole bunch of problems with it this afternoon trying to prepare for the stream. Wasn't working correctly, but sometimes it did work. And then sometimes it would go up to 880 megabit between my PC and this laptop here. So that's how it works. That's how it's the speed. 'Cause that's not my real speed, you see. That's just local network speed. It's kind of misleading. Like here, it's updating the Steamworks redistributable. I don't really know what this speed is representing. It doesn't really make sense to me. Yeah. My actual download speed through my internet gateway is like terrible. So I'm using like a 5G router to do the stream. I also have a landline broadband as well, which is about 75 megabit, whereas the 5G can get about, well, sometimes it gets about 50 to like 200 megabit. It just depends on the signal I'm getting. I actually have it connected up externally of my house, so I have the antenna sticking out my window at the moment. might make a video about that in the future, because like if you live in a house or property with like really bad broadband, and then you want to get something better, and you know your phone can get 5G signal, and that's faster than your actual landline broadband, then yeah, well, why not invest in a 5G router, especially if and what I did was actually I use a suction cup and a camera mount to like stick it to my window and stick it in like the perfect um orientation so that it's like facing the closest 5G tower, and it gets pretty reliably good 5G signal. Right, so it's a big improvement over my local broadband. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so this is doing the game transfer locally. So it wasn't doing it before, now it's doing it now. See that it's a bit inconsistent. I don't really understand what's happening. But basically, I don't want to do an update at the moment. I want to play Stray. Ah, here we are. Okay, so one thing that I don't really know how to do is to use MSI Afterburner. I haven't used this for a really long time, and what's really annoying is that I cannot see what I'm supposed to do here, because the DPI setting here, because I'm running this at 4K, I can't see what I'm supposed to do. So on-screen display. I haven't set this up for a really long time. How do you actually set this up? Let me make a fatal error. What? Let's try that again. Is it because of my afterburner? How do I get this to turn on? Like normally in videos, I always see. Ooh, Alt R. That's a good point. Interesting. HK project game has crashed. Let me just try and turn off afterburner. Let's see if that does anything. Let me just see Alt. Oh, here we are. Yeah. Let me put the overlay. Okay, let's see if I remote cancel that. Let's turn this up a bit. So we do have 4K as an option. High is the max. Is 4K the right way to go? Let's see. Let's run the. So why isn't my NVIDIA stats working with Alt-R? Oh god, that's loud. Should I be running this at 4K? Not really sure. But 70 FPS at 4K, that's pretty good. I think it's crashing because Afterburner was trying to inject the overlay. So let me just look up why can't I get NVIDIA to work on this? NVIDIA Alt R. How do you enable the performance overlay? Let's see here. I think it's because I haven't set up the. I think it's because I haven't actually set up GeForce Experience correctly. So this is not bad at all. Why am I capped at 60 frames per second? Should be uncapped. Is this capped? No, it's not capped. 60 frames per second. Like, this is not the most intensive part of the game, of course. I think I might load a different level. Well, I'll do that after I've got this working. Yeah, 60 frames, 61 frames per second are basically high at 4K. So, you know, not too bad considering. Let me know if the sound is okay. The sound is not really important for this part of the thing, but sometimes when I do 4K capture, it kind of messes up the thing. So don't you need a... So saying you don't need an account for the new NVIDIA. Is this an old one? How do you log in without this? The new NVIDIA app still beta. The beta NVIDIA app. Let's find it. Okay. Oh, interesting. I'm learning something new. I hate the GeForce app. It just sucks. I gotta stop this. Because it'd be interesting to see the actual temperature stats too. Good. I have a lot of respect for NVIDIA these days. You know, it's interesting that NVIDIA are one of the most valuable companies in the world. And, you know, this is a Taiwanese company as well. It's very interesting. Two of the TSMC and NVIDIA, two of the world's most valuable companies, both based in Taiwan, both in the tech industry, both supply people like AMD, Apple, all of these integrated into this bizarre Taiwanese supply chain, which is very interesting. As somebody who goes to Taiwan a lot and has Taiwanese family, it's very interesting. Yeah, I will try Stray in the City Docky and see what the intensity is like. Luna Delint, thanks for joining the stream. Good night. Thank you for being part of this. Yeah, the GPUs of this is pretty good. Gamer driver. This is pretty cool. I like it. Woohoo! With no need not installing, please. Thank you. Okay, so we've got overlay. What's the overlay? Got graphics settings. Alt Z overlay. Okay, good. So we've got an overlay of some kind. That's all we need. Although it doesn't entirely replace the old NVIDIA control panel, they're still working on adding all its features. Okay, well, that's good to know. I might install it on my new PC. NVIDIA are in the lead for a reason, even if their pricing kind of garbage. Pricing is interesting. I mean, I like the fact that they released the super line of GPUs, and they're not that expensive compared to the dark days of the GPU shortage. Okay, which level should I test? I think it's this rooftops ones, which which is quite intensive. Okay, it's Alt Z, Alt Z. Okay, so how do I do this? Okay, we've got stats. We've got stats. Okay, we've got stats. 51 FPS, GPU 99%. Some other numbers which I can't really tell what they are. Latency 29. Okay. Stacked layout, visibility. Oh, that's better. Enhanced. Enhanced is good. That's pretty cool. I don't really need the Steam layout. Steam one's just kind of in the way. Okay. We've got something. Is NVIDIA a US company? I'm pretty sure it's a Taiwanese company. I'm behind in the video, but you can absolutely mix Vulkan OpenCL Metal GPU scores. It's been confirmed by John Paul, the creator of Geekbench. No reason to run OpenCL on macOS, given it's deprecated. Well, let's do it again. Let's do. So, let's see. Sam Hain, should I run the Vulkan GPU Geekbench benchmark instead of the OpenCL? Interesting. TSMC is not a Chinese company. I know that for a fact. Okay, stacked is my favorite. This is cool. I like the stacked layout. That's all we ever really need. But I also, when I see benchmarks with other games, it's always on use the MSI Afterburner. I need to watch a tutorial on how to get that to work. But this works fine too. I like this layout. Okay, so I'm mistaken. NVIDIA is a US company, but their fates are pretty much tied to Taiwan. AMD's CEO is also Taiwanese. They're actually cousins. The NVIDIA and AMD's CEOs are both Taiwanese and related to each other, which is funny. Okay, so 4K Stray running on high, getting a nice 50 frames per second. Very respectable. Fans are loud, but here I'm just testing the actual performance, which I'm going to call impressive. Okay, can I go back up? Okay, I played this bit before. I remember you'd run here. getting confused between. I always get confused. Wow. Getting confused between my Alt button. This is like ultimate Windows Mac gaming first world problems. It's like I'm looking at my keyboard, like what is the left Alt button, and I'm pressing the Windows key by accident because I'm getting confused on my third party keyboard. So I'm running this at 4K on high settings, uncapped frame rate on the Windows computer. Yeah, the 4060 is not such good value, but I think that as a gaming machine, you know, it doesn't take much to beat a Mac, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't take much. 4K at 50 frames per second. This is not too bad at all. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do now is let's go back to the Mac. So standing on this corner right here in this level, yeah, 47. So mental note, 47 frames per second. Okay, we don't have anything funky running here. Exclusive full screen. It's only using 1 GB of memory, of graphics memory. There's no FSR, there's no Metal FX. I think the Mac version actually has Metal FX, but the Windows version does not have anything. It's interesting. We just got this resolution scaling ability. Yeah, so 47 frames per second. Okay, let's quit. Okay, so let's. Oh, so this overlay still runs. Alt R still runs even if you're not running a game, which is interesting. Let's quit out of this. Okay, let's shut this down. Okay, MacBook shut. Okay, I'm going to put my MacBook directly on top of that. And now I'll plug in my Thunderbolt. I'll plug in my HDMI. Okay, good. Okay, we're in my MacBook now. Let's repair the devices so I can get some actual peripherals working. I just got to pair this up. Okay, so pairing my keyboard. And then I'm pairing my mouse. So this is the non-binned Pro. So let me show you the stats of this before we get going. So Apple M3 Pro, 18 gigabytes of RAM. We are using, let's go to system report, 12 CPU cores. So the bin version has 10. And in terms of graphics, we are looking at, let me see, 18 GPU cores. And we are scaled down a bit to 1080p. But one thing that's bad about Macs is the lack of good scaling on the OS side. So we have a Retina display, which just means that you know, it's pretty sharp. It's like pixel double basically, but it ain't that good compared to a Windows computer. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. That's that. 1080p. I'm gonna run this. I think in game I'm gonna just turn this up to 4K, or should I turn it to 4? No, I'll turn it to 4K in-game with exclusive full screen. Okay, let's run this game. Let's run straight at 4K and see how it goes. And let's close some of these windows. Let's close this. Let's close crossover as well. Let's close anything that's not necessary. One gigabyte of VRAM sounds wrong. Yeah, does sound wrong. Well, here we're only using 2 gigabytes so far. Okay, so we don't want this borderless, we want this exclusive. And we want this at the same resolution. VSync turned off. And then we want this to be high, high, high. Okay, so why? Just trying to get this looking good. Okay, good. So let's start a game. Let's select a chapter. Okay, let's go to the wall first, and then we'll go to the city and see how that goes. Crest of Honor 23. My issue more stems from how macOS works with external displays and making custom resolutions. Yeah, I have to use like Switch Res X to like get custom aspect ratios. It's very annoying. I don't like the way that macOS handles resolution and DPI scaling, and it's especially bad with 1440p monitors, external monitors, even 4K screens too. Strick's point with RDNA3 will make the RTX 4000 series obsolete, but NVIDIA made too many chips, so they have to sell that stuff even when the RTX 5000 arrives. Okay. Now we hear sound. We didn't get that on PC. Oh, I probably didn't turn it up enough. I'm going to turn down the sound a little bit. Okay. I probably didn't route the sound through the HDMI cable on the Windows computer properly. The performance HUD is too small. That's just down to resolution because I'm trying to compare resolutions. But I can see running about 34 FPS. So I think previously we're on the other computer, we're at this exact part, we're running at about 60. Okay. Let me just make sure that nothing is, that everything's working correctly. We don't have like low power mode turned on or something. Never, yeah. So, you know, if on a one-to-one, on a one-to-one basis, right, looks like this game is running about half the speed of the 4060. And, when we're looking at this raw graphical performance and the fact that the Apple MacBook Pro is actually roughly the same price as the G14, then you can, there's a definite deficiency in its speed. Okay, let's go into let's go load up a different level. Let's go back to that one that we had earlier. So rooftops. Okay. The metal HUD should have scaling options. It's way too small. It is way too small. And I am streaming this on a 1080p stream, so it's not great. Yeah. So as good as this game is, and how well it is natively optimized for the Mac, again, if I look closely, it's about 29, 30 FPS. So before we were getting about 50 or 60. So, substantially worse. So yeah, the gaming value is obviously leaning towards the PC. I mean, it's obvious, right? But so many people ask, the reason I want to do this comparison is because so many people ask me the same question over and over again. Like, should you get a Windows computer or a Mac? And, the answer has always been like, the Mac has got plenty of natively optimized titles. You buy the Mac for productivity and you can play some games on the side. But in terms of performance, this, Stray is a natively optimized game for the Apple Silicon ARM chip. It's meant to take advantage of all of the kind of bells and whistles of the graphics API, but it's just simply not as good. Well, I didn't really check whether there was a FSR or a different scaling solution. Maybe I'll test that later. Anyway, I think what I was saying earlier, like, take a photograph in your mind. What was the frame rate before? Like 71? And here I can kind of see maybe what I'll do. I think what I'll do here is I'll just, to make it easier for everyone to see, I'll unlock this. And then let's make this bigger. Make this bigger for everyone to see because you can't see it. Yeah, see? Everyone can see that, right? Okay. 20, I know this is like really bad way to play. This can make you throw up if I play the game like this properly. But yeah, 29 to 30 FPS. Seems to be using more memory. It can't, the 4K Windows version can't be using 1.1 gigabytes, so that's obviously wrong. Oh, so no I have a G16 with a 4090 and the M3 Max of 128. The M3 is almost a perfect computer. The G16 is a perfect computer. Maybe. It's just the operating system. Like, if you could Hackintosh the G16 with macOS and get perfect driver support, then that would be perfect, I think. Because I think macOS is slightly better than Windows. And then you could dual boot and then you get the best of both worlds. Hey, is there a way to play Rainbow or Valorant on a Mac with crossover? Sorry, no. Any kind of popular multiplayer shooter is not going to work on a Mac, I'm afraid. Especially online ones. Developer who makes better display also contributes to monitor control. Okay. Better display really helps with the text rendering. I've discovered on external display. Really worth doing, installing that. In 7 years, people will still use the M3 Pro happily. G14 will complain. Yeah, I mean, if you look on the forums for the G14, especially older versions, then there's a lot of like, people have a lot of issues with that. I've never had a Windows laptop that's lasted me more than 3 years. Like I don't know what I've done wrong with them, but MacBooks, the build quality is insanely good. Now the G14's build quality is so similar in feel to the Mac. The color and the feel of the materials is excellent. But I have a feeling that something will go wrong with it faster than my Mac. And my Macs just tend to hold value better. I just found that Macs just work better in the long run. Better batteries, better everything. Okay. Okay, let's see how we're going. So, I mean, it's just not really much of a contest that the 4060, even though the 40, for a lot of people, the RTX 4060 is a compromise. It's like the light option. But if you are a serious gamer, you'd want the 4070 or 4080, which is the 4080 being way faster than both of those chips. Even that is performing double what the M3 Pro with 12 GPU cores can perform. So yeah, if you're a serious gamer of any kind, then you should probably be getting a Windows computer. Because as well optimized as Stray is, it's going to perform literally twice as well on a on a Mac, or on a Windows computer versus a Mac. Okay, did this go to 4? Did this turn into 4K? Well, full screen. Is this 4K resolution? Let's see. Let's turn this back to 1080p so people can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, I think I've got time to do one more. So I think what I'm going to do is run No Man's Sky on macOS. And then I'll run it on the Windows computer and see how it compares. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly if the Windows versions of games are one-to-one representation with macOS. But let's have a look. It should be the same. I'm testing out No Man's Sky at the moment, and that's probably going to end the live stream today. As we do this, let's put the graphical quality, let's put it on high. Okay, good. Let's put it on high. Okay. In my eyes, Macs and Windows laptops last the same amount of time, as Crestawana says. I think it just depends. Like, the thing is about MacBooks is that they all tend to have the same level of quality of build. Whereas on the Windows side, there's a lot of variance. You can get gaming laptops which are $500 for gaming, and they're just made of plastic and they're terrible and they die after 2 years. They get hot and then they don't really last properly. But you can also buy high-end premium laptops too, which have good thermal performance and don't get too hot, and they might work better. Okay, good. Okay, so this is my level, and okay, how are we doing? I think the sound is not right. Let me know in the chat whether that sound is good or not. I can't tell. I've turned it down quite low. Let me know if the sound is okay, because I'm getting weird coil whine from my capture card. So 4070 is not much faster than 4060. 4080 and 90 are much faster. So what's interesting about the G14, which is, we're not showing you that at the moment, is that the previous year, 2023 version, I think had the option to put in a 4090. But I think it's a good compromise. 4060 is, I'd call it enough for portable gaming. Enough. Okay, so I'm staring at my ship here, 99 frames per second. We're running this at 4K on high settings. Okay, so 90 degrees. Let's just try. Can we manual save here? Where's manual save? I'll just wander around here for a bit. So I'll try to go to the same area. Let's stand in front of the ship here and look at the ship. That's good. Look at this phenomenon. I think there's something wrong with my ship. I think it ain't doing so good. Okay, 4K, high settings, 113 FPS. Lock that in your brain. 113. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's try and recreate this exact view. Let's put my cursor on the nose of the ship, on the fire. Okay, 106 frames per second. Okay, good. Okay, not too bad. Switch. Is Metal FX turned on? I don't know. Let me just load up again, just see if I did have Metal FX turned on, because I can't remember. Because I don't really want upscaling to be turned on to do a direct comparison. I just want it to like work, because I don't think it's fair. Let me see. Metal FX spatial. Yeah, let's use MSAA 4X. So high MSAA 4X. Let's just load that again. Let's just try this again without any kind of upscaling. Because Metal FX, I believe, is meant to be based on FSR. As FSR's open source. I wonder if there's a difference. Performance mode renders at 1080p. Thanks, Ruani. Yeah, it's like a 4 times upscale, isn't it? Okay, we're back. Let's go look at the. Where's that thing gone? Why is that moved? I guess it's always moving. Okay, so this is like the true frame rate without any upscaling shenanigans. 59 frames per second. It's not capped right. If I look up, it's 100. Okay, good. So looking at my ship, 51 FPS at 4K, so it's not too bad. Let's get some B-roll, walking around a bit. Let's fly around. You know, it's pretty good. Like, you know, for me, this is of course very playable at 4K. I've never played this at 4K on a MacBook, so it's kind of pointless as a, you know, as an actual gameplay test. But as an objective performance test, it's quite interesting to see about 51, 52, 53 frames per second at 4K high with MSAA turned on. So when I look at this, it's on medium, but MSAA 4X anti-aliasing. FSR is turned off, so there's no FSR at all. Okay, let's turn this off. Good, good, good. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, good. Flippy over. Swap. Okay, MacBook Pro. Going back to whence you came. Okay, we're going to do our last benchmark of the night, because I'm getting tired. Okay, HDMI USB-C cable going in. Okay, let me switch my mouse back to. You know what I do like? What I do like about this laptop, right, is the fact that we have Windows Hello working. So if I put my face here, and it's logged me in just by looking at me, okay? We need Face ID. I mean, we've got this like huge notch on the MacBook Pro that's ready for, you know, those IR emitters to work. It's ready. And right now, my watch unlocks the MacBook Pro for me. But it would be nice if we had proper, you know, if we had proper Face ID. Because we're in the 3rd generation of MacBook Pro now. We should have it. If a Windows laptop can figure out the IR sensors inside this bezel at the top. You know, it's quite substantial, the bezel. Then I don't see why not. Why is it crashing? Let me turn the overlay off first. And let's run the game again. Only upscale when they have the same upscalers. I see the notch entirely as pointless, even if they had the Face ID. Our cameras aren't that big. I mean, the notch the notch is controversial, but I don't think it's that bad because it's extra vertical space. Like here, if you give me the option to have a notch or no notch, I would choose to have a notch if I could get this tiny bit of extra vertical space here. As you can see, if you look at this gap at the top right, on a MacBook, that would be filled in with the screen, right? And you'd have a notch on this edge here. But basically, I would go for a notch. I don't really care about a notch. Why is it crashing? Is there some kind of overlay which is killing things? The game has encountered an error. What on earth is the error? Would like to do a straight up comparison. It seems weird that this is not allowing me to do it. Maybe I need to upgrade the drivers. Oh, I haven't downloaded the drivers. Let's do a driver upgrade. Hi Jess, nice to see you. Thank you for joining the stream. Okay, this is not very exciting. We are doing a GeForce Game Ready driver update. I think, yeah, you're right. I should restart the computer. But you know what? I want to do that as part of this driver update as well. So, you know, really the G14 is, as far as I can tell right now, it's spoiler warning. Double the performance in Stray. You know, a natively optimized Apple Silicon Mac game. Still manages to perform twice as well on an equivalently priced premium small laptop. I mean, I ran this on Stray and it had more, nearly double the performance. So I think that updated drivers will probably give, you know, it just demonstrates the same thing basically, that it's just far better than a Mac. And you know, that's not the reason people game on a Mac. People game on a Mac because I think the majority of people, yeah, they'll say that they game on a Mac because they just want one device. You know, take one device with them out, and you don't really need. You don't want to take a Windows computer as well. So they prefer to have the Mac because of productivity. They want the apps. They want the ecosystem integration. That's more important to them than the actual games themselves. And like I've said a lot in previous streams as well. It's like you can only play one game at a time, right? And so, as long as that one game works and you can play it, then a lot of people will be satisfied by that. So, for me, that one game was Baldur's Gate 3. Now it's not working, but if they can get it working again, then I'll be able to play it long term. Yeah, NVIDIA has good driver support. macOS support is bad. And what was interesting is that, you know, when I was using Intel MacBook quite a long time, it's like the boot camp drivers situation was always terrible. It's almost like on purpose, almost sabotaging on purpose, to get people to like properly, um, you know, I can see why Apple wouldn't want to, or I can see why Apple or Microsoft wouldn't necessarily want people to use Windows on a Mac. Okay, that's installed. I'll try one more time without restarting, and then I'll see if that helped at all. I'm not Stray. What am I doing? No Man's Sky. If not, I'm gonna try to restart. Yeah, I just said I tried playing Horizon Forbidden West on a whiskey. I'm afraid that's not going to work. Okay, let's restart. But one of the issues, of course, with these MacBooks, so these Windows laptops, is the driver situation. It's both good and bad. It's highly unstable in some scenarios, and doing shenanigans like restarting your computer, reinstalling drivers, not really something that you need to do on a Mac. Although Macs have a lot more downsides in terms of gaming than just that. Rise check. A lot of silicon is manufactured in Taiwan. I would say all of the important silicon, high-end consumer silicon, is manufactured in Taiwan. TSMC has like 50% of the high-end market, over 50%. So it's pretty important. All iPhones, all of these M3 chips, all of these 3nm process chips, all of this stuff, all made in Taiwan. I wonder where this Intel chip was made. Is this Intel chip made in the US? Can't be made in the US. It's foundries. Foundries are all in Asia. Not in Taiwan, then it's in South Korea or something like that. Crest of Honor. I think that a crash like that's probably due to something running conflicting in the background. Laptop's probably got that crap installed on it. No Man's Sky just received a big update. Yeah, if it received a big update, then I would expect the Mac version not to do so well, but the Mac version ran fine earlier. So I don't know what's up. Steal my face. Oh, I'm in. Nowadays, Steam Deck is my main gaming platform. I've been using the Steam Deck a lot lately. I've been playing this game called Balatro. Oh, I fucking love that game now. And what I really like about Balatro is the fact on the Steam Deck is the fact that I can just turn it off, pause it straight away. I think that's like a huge plus. Basically hibernate the game midway through, and it just works great. There's a Mac version of Balatro as well, which is lovely. Jfish, oh, you like my shirt? This is the new crossover swag. So crossover released, CodeWeavers released a whole bunch of brand new swag on their store. Highly recommend it. The blue t-shirt is great. Because they used to have the white t-shirt, which is kind of ugly. There's a wine shirt, which is red. I didn't really like that much. The black crossover ones, I have about 8 of those. They're great. I don't like this when it asks to sync to the cloud. I don't need to do that. The game has encountered an error. Okay, time to do troubleshooting. I mean, Mac games get loads of troubleshooting too. No Man's Sky, crash launch Windows. No Man's Sky PC Gamer Wiki. Crash. Let's have a look. Let's see if there are any recent crash reports on. Well, Steam overlays will crash. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I disable the overlay completely. Will that help? Am I a developer? Asked Kevin. I'm not a developer. I'm just an enthusiast. I can't code. I just like testing stuff. I just like playing around with stuff. Code Weavers, if you oh god, this happened again. Why is this happening? I wonder if I've got any overlays. Any ideas of what I can do to fix this? Okay, let's try without the HDMI cable. Okay. Let's switch this to this. Okay, good. Okay, let's sometimes in the past I've tried running this. I've tried running games through HDMI and it doesn't like the mirroring. Let's see if that helps. Hey, doesn't like it. Okay, another thing you can try on Windows Gaming, which I found could work, is disable the scaling. So, and then put this into 4K. No, it doesn't want to put it 4K. Sometimes display scaling messes things up. But now I've got to see everything in teeny tiny writing. So I've updated the GeForce drivers. Oh, scaling. Did that work? It's one of those things like I love PC gaming, but disabling the scaling. Let's recreate this problem, okay? Let's do it again. I created PC Gaming Wiki because I wanted to collate all of these stupid fixes. Like, why on earth would disabling scaling work? It just does for some stupid reason. So like, let's just turn it on again. Let's recreate this bug. Put on 125% scaling. Yeah, scaling. I can't believe that's caused an issue. Okay, well, HDMI is back in. Okay, let's go back to streaming mode. So it wasn't another thing, it wasn't the overlay. It was scaling. Okay, so turn down the scaling. Okay, good. Let's run this game. Let's do this bad boy. But, aside from the fact that the G14 has got better performance with the RTX 4060, apart from that, right? And the fact that these games are performing worse on Mac compared to Windows is the fact that we have all of the compatibility of Windows computers, which is just way better. We can play proper games. Warzone. You can play all the games that people keep requesting on a Mac, which they just can't play. Okay, let's max out this bad boy. And the final piece is to make sure that this is set to high, but we are going to be turning off any form of upscaling. But where's the upscaling? DLSS. What do we have before? MSAA. Where's the MSAA? Well, FXAA is faster than MSAA, right? Okay. Oh, let's just compare this. Okay. I'll restart this. How do I quit the desktop? Okay. Okay, the game is No Man's Sky, of course. Do this again. Dav says, "Hi Andrew, I enjoy the YouTube content. Considering buying a MacBook M3 and upgrading it to 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 of storage. Do you think it'll be enough for content creating?" Why is this doing this? Is it because of the overlay? Let's try this without sans overlay. I need to remove VSync. Do you think it's going to be enough for creating and Diablo 2 Resurrected, Diablo 4, and Counter-Strike 2? So, if you're going to do an upgrade of the MacBook Air M3, I would strongly consider getting an M3 Pro instead. You might find that the difference isn't that great. Okay, scaling turned off, 4K. I haven't had issues with scaling in years, and even then it tends to be resolution related. So I'm running this at 4K native. Okay, maybe it's not scaling. I'm pretty sure it's scaling because that's what it did earlier. Oh. Getting a bit tired. Why is it doing this? I did have this turned off in terms of scaling. Maybe I'll put this back to 1080p because that was working. Did I change a game setting which is causing it to crash on load? There's the fact that I was running in 4K. Weird. But then I'm going to run it as a 4K anyway. Okay, let's turn on the... I didn't expect to have so many technical issues on the Windows side, which is quite surprising. So someone's saying I should use TAA. Okay. Crest of Honor, TAA, DLA might have similar load. Let's do this again. Doom Eternal would obviously run on a Windows computer, whereas it would not really run on a Mac. So it's not really a good test, I'm afraid. Yanto, I just restarted the computer, so I don't think it's that. My gaming laptop is always at 125 Hz scaling, and it rarely been on an issue. I don't know what's causing this problem. Maybe I'll turn off the overlay. Maybe the overlay is causing issues. It's PC gaming. It can't be out of VRAM because it doesn't use that much VRAM. I've got 8 gigabytes of video memory, so it should not be that. Maybe it's a setting that I tweaked. I don't know what's causing this problem. Gonna restart again, and then if I can't get it to work, I'm going to nuke the Steam, the No Man's Sky install. Not nuke it, the preference files, because I think I might tweak something which is causing it not to like. I'd be curious how the integrated AMD GPU. Well, it's going to be way worse than the 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 uh, the AMD GPU is going to be much worse than the RTX 4060. Maybe it's worth trying. Yeah, I did try to launch it in 1080p and adjust the resolution. I'll try it again in a minute. Technical issues. I mean, I've been a PC gamer for a long time, and I think my bread and butter. My bread and butter has been technical issues. Part of the fun of PC gaming is dealing with the issues. That's why I made PC Gaming Wiki. I'm kind of knackered now. It's nearly 12 midnight. I just want to get this game to work. Let's see here. 1080p, 100% scaling. Let's see what's going on here. Stop synchronizing. So where do you get this information that the 780M is 30% slower than M3? Okay, let's try again without the HDMI. It's got to try everything. Okay, let's try this at 1080p. I mean, I've tried with different resolutions already. It might be a setting that we tweaked. So, okay, let's go back into. Let's go back into this. I'm not sure it's the HDMI is causing the issue. Technical issues. Okay, No Man's Sky. Let's look at it. Where is the settings location? Path to game binary settings. So let's see, path to game. Binaries settings. This is what I love. This is why I invented PC Gaming Wiki, because it made it a lot easier to find config files. Okay, game settings, graphical settings. Yeah. Okay. I think this is when I changed the TAA. I think if I just nuke it, then that'll help. Let's try this now. Oh, thanks for checking, Mr. 60 Flisson. Quick Google search shows screen recorder apps can sometimes cause that error, but I'm not using a screen recorder app. I'm using HDMI. Let's see. Well, I've got this overlay working, and maybe if I just turn this off, can I turn GeForce? Can I quit this? Yeah, let's try quitting this. Well, this overlay still on though. If I won't load, then I'll just nuke this whole settings area. Because it did load earlier. So it should, in theory, it should regenerate the settings menu again. Which is better, HP Victus or ROG Zephyrus G14? I don't know. Hmm. This shows that I don't really know what I'm doing. I feel like I haven't done enough PC gaming lately to remember what to do. But this is a mystery. Like, what's going on here? I could change res, I suppose. The default native res is 1800p. Something's different. I don't know idea what's different. Okay, let's not restart again. Okay. Oh well, I reset the. Full screen. This is normal for PC gaming, I'm afraid. I know because I've lived and breathed PC gaming for a long time. Okay, let's go high. And yeah, TAA is what we want to be. Okay, I'm not gonna restart. I'm just gonna run this and then see, because I know that it's gonna be faster. No. PC gaming is very, very fickle beast. Okay, No Man's Sky. So we were getting, without any kind of frame rate scaling, we're getting about 50 on the Mac. Yeah. So yeah, we are directly comparing against a natively optimized macOS ARM port, but I'm sure it's going to run faster. Sure, I'm sure. But the thing is, right, that the Windows computer can also play a whole bunch of games the Mac cannot play relatively easily. The Finals, PUBG, Call of Duty Warzone, Valorant, all these games that people keep begging to play on the Mac. Fortnite, all these games, easy to play on a Windows laptop. So, pretty straightforward. I think it was running about 50. If you check the earlier in the live stream, I demonstrated that it was running faster. We'll see what the frame rate is. Give it 30 seconds to I'm in Verti. Okay, we're getting similar frame rates on the disk. Let me just check it's not capped. Yeah, that goes to 100. This is at night though. Okay, this is kind of similar. So just checking this, we're at 4K. Maybe I should restart. We're at 4K, resolution scaling 100%. VSync off. We're at high graphics settings TAA. It's 50, so this is 4950 as well. So it's a bit of stutter there. Well, they've already tanked the frame rate for a few seconds. So we are at night at the moment, so I wonder if this is actually a fair test or not. Yeah, what's interesting is that this is not bad. I know that this port on is especially kind of impressive just because it's on the Mac side anyway. I think they were probably involved. They were featured. Well, the thing is that they were featured at WWDC, so they must have had a lot of Apple integration. I think this is better than the Mac version anyway. 58. So look at the fire. I'm not doing a one-to-one comparison. Can I make the day go faster? How do I make it? We're definitely getting a better frame rate here. It is louder. I wonder if I can let. How long does a night take? This is better. This is running slightly better, I think. Or at least very similar. Very, very similar. Let's try. What happens if I restart? Because it was saying that I needed to restart to get those graphic settings working. Is it going to crash again? It's strange that the Mac version was like flawless to open, and then I'm having all these like small issues with them with this version. Yeah, let's see that final restart. You should compare it to a MacBook Pro M3 Max. I mean, it's not really a fair comparison because the M3 Max is a £3,400 computer, whereas this is a £2,400. I mean, obviously the M3 Max is it's probably gonna perform very similarly to like on Stray or something compared to this G14. So I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. I don't think it's worth comparing because the people buying M3 Max are not gonna buy a G14, a Zephyrus G14. The settings aren't the same, yeah. So maybe I should go back to the MacBook later. I don't have the option, thanks Max GG, I don't have the option to do MSAA. There's no MSAA option. Here, you can see on the right here, there's no MSAA. I've got FXAA, TAAA. Obviously, we don't have DLSS or DLAA on the Mac. FSR, do we have FSR on the Mac? I'll have to check the settings again. What I should just do is just turn anti-aliasing off and then see what happens. Let's try this again. Okay, after this, I'm gonna go to sleep. Let's do one last test so I don't have to test this again tomorrow. I just turn it off. Everything is off, then we can compare it like for like. Because like the Metal FX is not equivalent to DLSS, so you can't really compare. See, and again, this error message again. So why? Oh, there's something funky with the scaling going on again. What is happening? I thought Macs were bad with this like resolution jumping. I'll just try with AA turned off, see what happens. What is this error message? Am I going to test Death Stranding? Yes, I will test Death Stranding, but not today. It's not the right time to do it. because I'm tired and I'm trying to get this to work. And I haven't downloaded it. That's what. That's another thing, is I haven't downloaded it yet. Let's try my native resolution. Let's try this again. Okay, let's try it with the overlay turned off. Let's launch it with the overlay turned off. Okay, let's try that thing again where we just go back into nuke the settings again. Shouldn't really be doing this. All I did was change the AA value to something lower. It's definitely something to do with the settings. So I changed. If I change AA to off, then what happens? Maybe I've changed this to secondary. Off. High. Off. Okay, let's try this. Okay, TA is not as intensive as MSAA. Well, we want this to be a fair test. We want the same settings as much as we can. I think maybe the overlay as well. Overlay is kind of messing things up too. Let's hope this is not the case. Okay, so let's go back. So clean test, guys. Clean test. So I'll try the Mac version later, probably a different day. But this has been really good information. I mean, I'm glad I've live streamed this because there's a lot of stuff I did not realize I needed to do a certain way. And like, for example, live stream, I wouldn't realize that I could have used the GeForce overlay, the built-in overlay to do it, and not have to set up MSI Afterburner, which is nice. So I'm glad that I've got the chat involved. Okay. Okay, I think we've got a similar deal here. That's my ship. Okay. Just it requires a restart to get my cameras to be inverted. That's not right. Okay, so we've got high, off, good. Okay, so at nighttime we're looking at our ship. Still very similar. Well, 60. Let me just check it's uncapped. Look at the sky. Yeah, good. Uncapped. Okay. 55, 60, 57 FPS. This is nighttime. .44 flying around. But basically looking at the ship at night, about here, 51, 52. Who is winning, Windows or Mac? Well, actually, in the game No Man's Sky, we're getting very similar performance. Very, very similar. So what I'd have to do is go back to the Mac side and check with the anti-aliasing turned off at 4K, are we getting 55 frames per second in the same area? So it's a good test. Okay, well, I think I'm going to call it a night. This is midnight here, and I can see my concurrent viewer count has really dropped a lot from 90 down to 46. So I think that means that it's calling it a night for everyone else. Okay, let's quit the desktop. Okay, I'll test this out tomorrow. It doesn't really matter about the expense as long as the expense is applied to both the Mac and the Windows computers. So can you use a PlayStation emulator on Mac? Yes, PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. 1, 5, PS5, PS4 emulation, not really an option yet. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for joining me on the stream. Tomorrow I'm going to do a bunch more B-roll, but probably not on a stream, comparing the performance between this laptop and the Mac. Once I get all the footage together, I'll probably edit this in a video, but I'm going to do that after my holiday. So I've got another big break booked in for Easter, so I'm going to be away for 2 weeks. So I really doubt I'm going to finish this video before then, but I want to get everything done because I've got to return my MacBook Pro because I've kind of borrowed that from Apple. Well, I bought it and I'm going to return it, so it's naughty of me. But I've got one more day to get all that stuff sorted, and in order to do that, I need to get a good night's rest. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me today. Hopefully I'm going to get to do a little bit more in the future and turn this into like a really interesting video comparing Windows and Macs. If you have any suggestions for other games that I should actually test out, then please let me know in the comments. We can leave a comment on the actual main video itself, and I'll probably see that later. You won't be able, I'm not going to be able to show you to see this in the chat, so the chat's going to end as soon as I end this video. And I'll do some like thermal tests as well using my infrared camera. I'll include the Geekbench, the Cinebench, and I'll probably try what I'll do is I'll do something like run Cyberpunk on both computers, and obviously the Mac version is going to run way worse, but it'll be an interesting experiment. Anyway, thank you for joining me on the stream. See you next time. Good night.